Do you know a metal rod can pass through your brain and you'd still survive? Yes, it sounds impossible, but then it actually happened to a real person. And when it happened, it changed everything we thought we knew about neuroscience. Stay with me because this story is wild. In 1848, in the United States of America, a 25-year-old man called Phineas Gage was working at a railroad construction site. His job was to pack explosives using a 1-meter rod. Unfortunately, the powder ignited early and blasted the rod through his cheek, his eyes, and then through his brain to the top of his skull. He became unconscious for a while, but then after a few minutes, he was up. He was rushed to see a doctor, and the doctors were so surprised about this miracle that had happened. How can a metal rod pass through someone's brain and the person survives? Happy ending, right? That wasn't the end. In as much as Phineas Gage survived, his personality changed. Before the accident, he was a loving person. Everyone admired him. But after the accident, he became reckless. He wasn't able to make decisions, and everyone was surprised to the extent that people said Phineas Gage was no longer the Gage they knew. Now, here is why this story matters. Because prior to the accident, we didn't really know much about the brain. Scientists thought that the brain was just one big organ and it's either it functioned well or it didn't function well. But then the accident of Phineas Gage made us know that specific parts of the brain are responsible for specific things. So in the case of Phineas Gage, the brain was destroyed at a specific part which is responsible for personality, for self-control, for executive decision. And that is why this story matters. So what exactly is the brain? What exactly is this organ that survived a metal rod passing through it? The brain is an organ that sits within our skull. And without exaggeration, I would say it's the most complex organ that we've ever discovered in the human system. It weighs about 1.4 kilogram and is roughly 2% of your body's weight. However, it consumes 20% of all the energy that the body produces every single day. While you sleep, while you rest, while you do absolutely nothing, it never clocks out. It takes 20% of this energy, which is wild. Let's start with the big picture. The brain is not just one organ. It's divided into two. So there is the left region and the right region. Funny thing is, the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body, and the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. So how is it possible that there are two sides and they work together? The two regions of the brain are connected to each other with some thick fibers that ensures that there's communication constantly between these two hemispheres. So anytime you are reaching for a cup with your left hand, your right brain is actively working. And anytime you are saying, let's say, welcome, Akwaba, Weasel to someone with your right hand, your left brain is actively working. So take home is there are two sides of the brain, the left side and the right side. The left side of your brain controls the right part of the body, and the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. Now, the brain is not just divided into left and right sides. It's also divided into something we call lobes, and there are 4 of them. So one, there is the frontal lobe, which can be found just behind your forehead. And this part of the brain is responsible for your personality, for decision making, and for more complex tasks. So if you are being told to think before you act, it's your frontal lobe that's responsible for that. And like we found, or like I mentioned in Phineas Gage's story, his frontal lobe was destroyed when the rod was blasted through his brain. So that's why his decision making and his self-control was affected. Now, just behind the frontal lobe at the back is where we have the parietal lobe. And the main function of this lobe is for touch. So be it temperature, be it pain, be it pressure, that's what it's responsible for. And it's also responsible for one important thing, which is knowing your body's position in space. So for example, if you close your eyes to reach for your phone or your phone, you automatically know where the phone is because the parietal lobe maps your body's orientation and awareness in space. To the sides, just where your ears are, we have the temporal lobes. And these regions are responsible for hearing and memory. So if you remember a conversation you had with a friend, your grandma, your dad some years ago, that's your temporal lobe at work. If you are able to hear someone calling your name in a very loud environment, that is your temporal lobe at work. And as you are listening to me right now, it is your temporal lobe that's enabling you to hear what I'm saying. And then to the back of the head, we have the occipital lobe. And this whole region is dedicated entirely to vision. And you remember I told you the brain consumes 20% of all your body's energy? The occipital lobe alone takes a third of that, meaning that vision is so expensive. So here we have the frontal lobe, which is mainly for executive control and decision making. We have the parietal lobe, which is for touch and orientation. We have the temporal lobes, which is for memory and hearing, and then the occipital lobe, which is mainly for vision. So there it is. 2 hemispheres, 4 lobes, one incredible organ. And it is working 24/7. And the wild thing is we've not even spoken about other brain regions which are important for certain activities that we do on a daily. So keep watching this space. We'll be bringing you more brain facts. We want you to stay healthy. We want you to stay informed, and see you in the next one. Thank you.